All right, welcome to the Lunar Project Podcast with me, Ian, and
Me, Dylan.
exactly,
There
and
you
we
go.
talk basketball, football, any other sport. Baseball sucks,
Baseball sucks. Hockey's not worth watching.
so that's it.
I mean,
Basketball,
we could talk
football,
golf. No.
and we may have a couple rogue episodes where we talk about our lives. We haven't lived a long life, so
No, yeah.
we can't make the entire podcast about that. But
But
shit,
we got experiences.
shit, stay tuned,
Yes.
stay tuned.
We got some stories.
All right, let's just start off with playoff basketball. Every game's a blowout. How do you feel about
Recently,
this?
yeah.
How do you feel about this?
I think that every series has the potential to be as entertaining as it can be, but there's going to be games where teams aren't going to show up.
Which sucks.
It does.
Because, like, it's just been boring. The conference finals have been whack as hell.
Yes, you got the Warriors going up 3-0 and then getting their asses blown out. And then you got a 3-2 series, Boston, Miami, but then Miami didn't show up and Jimmy Butler drops a 13.
Yeah. I feel like they're looking rough.
They are.
They're looking rough.
It's not looking good.
What's it called? The Warriors played it. You can't see that.
No.
But today is May 26th, so they play today, so we don't know the result of the game yet.
No, but we just got word that Otto Porter is not playing.
Which is a big impact. Massive.
Seeing that during the Memphis series, the only shooters that we could get was Otto Porter for a long time, making 4 of 7 threes when Curry's 0 for 13, and I just don't understand it. So
I couldn't tell you either. Your team's a poverty team. How do you feel about that?
It's a championship
No,
DNA team.
it's a
It's
poverty
a
team.
championship
Anyway,
DNA. All right.
Let's talk about my beautiful team. If you're wondering why we have these jerseys here, it's because
We
these
got-
are just
Players, we got we
Yeah.
got collections going on. You know.
yeah. You got the Siakam and the Dame jersey. That is not a CJ McCollum jersey.
No, we
Okay.
talked about that,
It's not a Nurkic jersey. Okay.
which would be dope. Shout out Nurk. Nah, I'm
Questionable.
playing. No.
But I'm a Kings fan. He's a Warriors fan, so that's why he has a lot of allegiance to the Warriors. But you just sent this in the group chat yesterday. We may have a franchise coming to Vegas.
Exactly, and if by 2026 we have a team here in Vegas, the whole 10 plus year Warriors fandom might come to an end.
I'm telling you, the day Vegas has a team, I'm not a Kings fan. I don't know the Kings. De'Aaron, Sabonis, I don't know y'all.
We're going to be poverty.
I don't know y'all. No, we ain't.
Nah, we will. Okay, or they could pull. Okay, let's not talk about the NHL, but they can pull like they did for Vegas with the Golden Knights, and the expansion draft could set us up to be a championship team in the first year.
I think the expansion draft in basketball is a lot harder to get good players. Though.
Exactly, because hockey has so many good players.
Exactly.
You're going to get.
We're going to have Norman Powell being the center of Vegas basketball.
Yeah, we're going to have a star player in Norman Powell. Norman Powell is going to be in first team All-NBA in 2026
He's gonna
at
average
39
30.
years old.
You'll average a 30-piece, 6 assists
Yeah.
on Vegas.
And our starting center will be Timothy Mozgov out of retirement.
No, God, no. But I'm excited for that. I am hyped.
I am hyped.
For Vegas to have an expansion team.
Well,
'Cause
Seattle might have a
I don't care about Seattle. I don't live in Seattle.
but the Supersonics.
Fuck Seattle.
You-
But
Exactly.
I
You're
don't
not wrong.
actually hate Seattle. Shout out to y'all in Seattle.
I hate the Seattle Seahawks. That's just gotta
I have no
throw
opinion
that
on
out.
They
Well,
should
they're
have ran
not.
the ball.
They're not in your conference.
That is.
They should have
I
ran
do.
the ball, but they're poverty, so it's okay.
When it comes to Vegas having an expansion team, right, the reason I'm so excited is because I do not have to be a Kings fan anymore. I don't have to go through the pain of watching the Kings draft horribly. We have the 4th pick in the draft this year. Now, if we're going to pick with this pick, I have
Jaden
no
Hardy.
idea. Jaden Hardy.
Yes. Off
I
the
don't
Ignite team.
know. I don't know if they're going to do
He's
it.
gonna, but
I know he's a Vegas born, so I know of him, but I don't know.
if you take Jaden Hardy, the problem with that is that the only role he could fill on your team is where Tyrese was.
Which is pain, because I love Tyrese. Tyrese, man, if you're watching this, man, we love you over here in Kings Nation. We don't know what the fucking GMs are doing. But there's also the Ivy kid.
Exactly.
Another good pick. I don't know, man.
And we can all get this out of the way right now. There is no speculation on where Chet Holmgren is going.
Or maybe he may go 2.
I think he's going 1.
He may go 3.
I think he's the consensus.
He may drop to the Kings.
I think he is a Zion pick, and he is the consensus number 1 pick.
He may drop to 4th.
But there's also Banchero from Duke.
Who? Oh, Paolo.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're top 2 picks. Who's the third guy? I know it's a top 3 draft. Who's the third
It's a
guy?
top 3 draft, but
Paolo, Chet, and...
I didn't watch enough college basketball this season.
I couldn't tell you either. I don't remember who the third guy is.
Normally I would, but it's just not.
Hate to see it. Shout out Paolo. Shout out Chet. Chet, if he falls to number 4, fuck Vegas. I'm rocking with the Kings. We're going up.
The problem with that is that I think Chet is the lock for number 1, not on skill alone, but from the fact that him and Jalen Suggs have played basketball together since they were in like 8th grade.
Yeah.
And Jalen Suggs has the potential to be that guy.
Yeah. You see, I get what you're saying, right?
Right.
But if he falls to number 4...
You are not getting Chet Holmgren. It's just not happening. But you can dream. We're going to talk about it's just drafting for the Kings.
I was about to say, this is the highest draft pick since Marvin?
Marvin.
Was Marvin a number 2 pick?
Marvin was the 4, wasn't he?
No, I think he
was. Or was
2.
he 2? Okay.
He was picked right before Luka.
And Trey.
Luka Doncic and Trey Young. This is why I want Vegas to have an expansion team, right? Because I can't pick another poverty team that drafts horribly. Like, no way Vegas drafts horribly.
No, because you already know we're going to have one of the best coaching staffs because every coach is going to want to come here.
Exactly. We can't draft that horribly if we get a Vegas
Our
team.
front office is going to be amazing. Doesn't mean that our team's going to be good till year 3.
I give it a couple. If I leave this planet without seeing a Sacramento Kings or Vegas championship, I will be highly sad.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I went through that phase when I was little as a Warriors fan. But these last couple years have been pretty great. Even the bad ones with the injuries and everything.
It wasn't even that bad. Like,
we almost made the play-in. It's
you
just
didn't.
We did make the play-in. It was just LeBron and Ja. It was unfortunate.
Hits a 3
it's unfortunate.
With one eye.
You play LeBron first, you get knocked into the second game of the play-in, and then you play Ja getting ready to go into his first playoff run, and that's just a scary sight.
Then LeBron got bounced. Got bounced by Phoenix first round.
It's because last year he didn't have the team, and this year he was on paper had the team.
I don't know if on paper he had the team.
Okay, no, on paper he had the team to win the 2012 NBA championship.
Because Russ is just not that guy anymore.
And then they're trying to say that they may not part ways with him.
I swear he asked for a trade.
He did, but they said that there's a possibility that he's expected to stay there. And after he asked for the trade, there's been multiple GMs that said that there has to be a first rounder thrown into that trade to take the last year of his contract.
Which is wild, because Russ isn't worth that anymore.
Exactly. That's why they want that first round. They want that first.
That.
No, they want the Lakers to throw in a first rounder because his contract is worth so much for next year that his last year of his contract isn't worth taking out without a first round. Because I honestly think that Russell Westbrook is coming off the bench next year.
Depending on where he goes, yeah.
Or he could John Wall it. Does he have a player option?
He wanted to play.
But he didn't. He didn't.
John Wall wanted.
He wanted to eat chocolate.
John Wall does have a player option.
He does, and he's expected to pick it up after he didn't play. But he didn't.
$41 million. I would take it.
But he didn't play.
Shit, I'll sit on the bench for $41 million.
Exactly.
That ain't no problem.
Okay, yeah. But you also got to think about it this way. This guy's devoted his entire life to make that money, and then he's not going to do anything making that money. He's going to sit there.
That is fine.
I don't even think John Wall practices.
That's fine. That ain't no problem. I'll sit my ass on a bench, not even go to the games. I'll just be being paid by that team.
He didn't go to half of the fucking games.
I don't blame him. He's not going to play.
It wasn't very John Wall of him to do what he did this season, just because of the fact that growing up watching John Wall was one of the most exciting and like team building players. He was a leader.
He was that guy. But
He turned I want to say that even though Bradley Beal was getting to where he is now without John Wall, I think that John Wall was a very big part in the player that Bradley Beal is now.
Absolutely. And Bradley Beal's still in Washington, right?
Yeah, and he shouldn't be. Free him.
Nah, him and Kuz be balling over in Washington. Kuz be dropping like 20 and 15 games.
Right, but
Daily.
Is that enough with just him and Kuz to make the
Kuz
playoffs?
can be a say. You give Luka Doncic Kuz, he's winning a championship. That's a hot take. Write that down right there. You give Luka Doncic Kyle Kuzma, he's winning a championship.
Who knows, though? Because of the fact that it's right player, right system. And I don't know if there's another team that can take Kyle Kuzma and turn him into what Washington has, because I think that Washington is very underrated at developing young players.
Kuz, if you want to come to Sacramento, baby, you can come to Sacramento.
If you want to be coached by the Warriors assistant coach Mike Brown, who hasn't been a head coach since the Lakers, and you see what happened then, go to Sacramento.
Hey now. We have a good... I don't know what we have, man. We have a good point guard. I love Darren, man.
You have a good backup point guard, too.
We had a good fucking backcourt.
You had a good backcourt three. You have a good power forward.
He's a center.
He does, but the way he plays is power forward.
Yeah, it's not bad, though. Pick and roll with De'Aaron and Sabonis is nice. It's just there's nobody else. Like Harrison Barnes, you are good, but you need stars around you. You're not the type of player that's young. You're damn near 30-something.
No, he wasn't the player that was young when he was thriving with the Warriors either, though. It was because he had Clay and...
Was he like 25 with the Warriors?
Yeah, but he wasn't he wasn't a young player.
That's
he
Andrew
played,
Wiggins.
But he played like an old head.
That's Andrew Wiggins.
You're saying he's not that young type of player. He never was that young type of player.
Nah, but like we just need younger pieces. We need a younger team. There's no reason for the Sacramento Kings to have old-ass players on the bench. No reason.
Not one bit.
We're god-awful. We don't have a superstar. Tyrese, I bet, could have become a superstar. But we'll never know. Actually, we probably will know. And the day he becomes a superstar, I'm going to be crying somewhere. Believe me.
All-Star next year.
When he makes his first All-Star game, I'm going to be somewhere crying.
Tyrese is the one option because Malcolm Brogdon is proving that he cannot do that. As the one option next year, will be dropping like 25.
25 with 17 assists.
30
assists again.
Probably like 6.5.
Nah, that boy can pass.
Can he pass? Ball. I don't watch a lot of Kings basketball.
I don't blame you. I do not blame you.
That's one of those teams.
I don't blame you, but that man, he is one of the best playmakers of his draft. Probably the best in his draft.
He could be, and that. Yeah, no, I can give you that. I did watch him when he played on the Pacers for 10 games.
I didn't.
You want to talk about the fact that Marvin Bagley looked like he was actually a NBA player when he got traded to Detroit?
I'm happy Marvin got traded to Detroit. Firstly, because I hated him on the Kings. They never played him. Firstly, they never gave him minutes. So how is the dude going to progress? And then secondly, when he was given minutes, he was just there. Like he wasn't second overall per pick material.
No, he was 10th overall. He was 10th. He was lottery.
That man was picked over Luka Doncic and Trae Young.
I think in his draft, Marvin Bagley was lottery, but the fact that y'all didn't play him the way that he should have. I don't hate Marvin Bagley as a person. I hated him on the Kings. I don't hate him as a player. I don't hate him as a player. Same. I like his game. He's a lob threat, and he's got some long-ass arms.
Yeah. Well, shit, let's talk about team needs. So, let's talk about the teams that just got bounced. Phoenix.
Yes.
What do they need to do? How did they fix this?
They need to fix their relationship with Aiden ASAP. Yep.
The financial, oh, man. Does that man even get a contract, or does he sign somewhere else?
But who has the money to sign what he wants?
Sacramento.
Sacramento does, but do you really want to see him... You want to see him waste his career in Sacramento?
He becomes the next Boogie Cousins.
Nah. Because look at it this way. Boogie didn't have De'Aaron Fox.
He had Isaiah Thomas.
Was it before the fact?
It was before Boston.
It was
Isaiah.
before Isaiah Thomas was Isaiah Thomas.
Still had Isaiah
That
Thomas.
was no okay. The Isaiah Thomas that Boogie had was the Isaiah Thomas that played for like 4 teams on 10-day contracts this year.
Nah, it was just a young Isaiah that hadn't really come into his own.
Exactly.
This Isaiah is more like that man drops like 80 pieces in the G League, and then when he comes up, it's
realizes
just like,
he's short as shit, and
it's weird though because those G League players, they're fucking big still.
yeah,
They're not short.
Again, they're in the G League, and
That's
there's a
true.
very big differential between NBA bench player
Yeah.
and G League starter. The only team that I think could even take a game from the Detroit Pistons right now is the Ignite team.
Shit, I bet Lake Mead Christian Academy could take a game from the Detroit Pistons.
Not with your boy Marvin Bagley dropping 22 and 15.
That's something light. Give Jack 30 piece. He'll be light with it.
You think so?
Jack drops a 30 piece on Marvin Bagley's asshole. Anyway, though.
So the Suns.
The Suns.
Need to fix
CP3
Aiden.
needs to retire.
That's
I think he needs to
hot.
retire.
That's
I
hot.
think he needs to retire.
Okay. I think you give him one. No. Because of the fact that I don't think that if they lose Aiden, that they'll ever make it back to where they were. With this core that they got right now, I think CP3 should retire. You may be right about that.
Is D-Book a fake?
I think he talks a lot of shit and can't back it up, so yes.
Like, when he's in big game moments, he seems to not be able to do it against players that are his level.
That
Luka has
are supposed to be his level.
outshone him.
Outshined. Yeah.
Luka, the entire series, it was like on and off. But then that game 7, you saw like Luka is not on D-Book's level. D-Book is levels behind Luka still. I think D-Book is still levels behind Trey.
I think that D-Book was levels above them, and then he plateaued.
I don't know if he's levels above them.
I think he was, because
That may
youngest
just
player to
because-
drop 70 ever.
Yeah, I was about to
The
say.
way he was playing, he was on his way to be Luka or better, and he plateaued because
But-
Chris Paul came.
Is that because he was on a bad team? He didn't make a playoffs dropping 71. Luka, if you give D-Book the team Luka had, I don't think he makes the playoffs.
No, he doesn't. It's not. No.
Like, at the age Luka is, not D-Book now, obviously, but the age Luka is, he's not making the playoffs.
You got to think about it this way, though. Luka has been winning championships since the man was 16 years old.
Luka's just...
Luka is a generational
and we passed
talent.
on him, okay? How did we pass on him, y'all? How?
I ain't even gonna comment.
How, y'all?
I'm not gonna comment on it.
How
It's
did
just,
we pass on him?
it's just not worth the talk.
How did we pass on it? But CP3 got to retire. D-Book, I don't know what's next for D-Book because he's not on the level of Trey and Luka. He's on a Donovan Mitchell type of level, I'll be honest with you.
And I think Donovan Mitchell is a poser.
I don't know if he is.
I
don't know.
I love Donovan Mitchell, but the way that their team comes out the last 3 years,
Balling. And
balling,
then just,
makes the second
balling.
seed, even the first seed last year, right?
I think the bubble year were they first?
It was either last year or the bubble year that they were
One of
first.
those, yeah.
And you make it there, and you go out against Jamal Murray, and y'all trade 50
Game 7
pieces.
and lost.
You trade 50 pieces the whole series, and then you just shit the
Hold
bed.
Let's also give that context. He was also up 3-1 that series.
Yeah.
Jamal Murray came back
And dropped-
Okay, we say Jamal Murray. Jamal Murray and Nikola Jokic, the back-to-back MVP.
Nah, but you got to think about it. Bubble year Jokic, Jamal Murray playoff run was better than Jokic's in the
that
playoffs.
series.
It was Jamal Murray that carried them to the next round.
Yeah, that's not
Jokic wasn't
that's a fair
a
point.
thought in that series. I really
which is
think.
interesting because that's the year before he won his first MVP.
Right, and then he comes out and he destroys the next 2 years.
Dominates, gets an MVP, dominates again, back to back.
Right. Okay, so the Booker and the Donovan Mitchell thing. I love Donovan Mitchell. I think that the fact that he cannot learn how to play with what could be one of the most dominant centers we've seen in a long time if you give the man the ball.
Nah, I don't know if you should give Rudy Gobert the ball on offense. He's a defensive anchor, but
He's
on offense,
7'1" with like a 7'8" wingspan. He can dunk the ball standing on the ground.
he's a suspect defender. Is all I'm. No, not a suspect defender. On the offensive end,
he's suspect.
He is suspect.
And I'll give you that. But the fact is
also,
that
Mike Conley is his point guard. Is Donovan Mitchell's point guard? That team just wasn't built to succeed.
There's no shooters on that team.
Don't they have Bojan?
They don't have. Yeah, but how often did Bojan play?
No.
Joe Ingles is not on the team anymore.
Who was their power forward this year? I couldn't tell you.
It's Bogdan. It was Bogdanovich.
No, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Bogdan is in what's it called? He's in Atlanta. He's a 2-guard.
Okay, so yeah, their power forward was the other Bogdanovich, was Bojan.
Okay, so who was their 3?
It was supposed to be Joe Ingles. But didn't
was
they
it
trade
Royce O'Neal?
Yes.
Who played
Yes,
3
Royce
for the
O'Neal.
Utah Jazz?
Yes. Nobody knows because they come out and they win 60 games or 50-something games, but you don't know who's on that team.
Yeah. LeBron wasn't wrong last season. He said, look, Utah's good and all, but growing up, ain't nobody ever choose Utah. And that still remains true.
That was this year in that draft, right? Or was it the year before?
It was one of these years. I don't know. This year was KD not picking James Harden for his
Yeah, there's
for
always
his
a
all-star
moment.
team.
There's always a moment.
And it's just LeBron behind a book just laughing.
Yeah.
Giggling it up.
Yeah, but no, D-Mitch, the fact, I saw a stat that said that Donovan Mitchell is more, out of 100%, is more likely to shoot a contested shot 92% of the time rather than pass the ball to Rudy Gobert.
I don't blame him, I'm going to be honest with you.
I don't either.
It's Rudy Gobert.
I just think that if you ran pick and roll with Rudy, that it could lead to something, because that man is very large, and I don't think you pass him the ball. I think that you can get an open shot and create some space.
Okay, so let's organize this. Phoenix, CP3 needs to retire. D-Book, suspect, needs to prove he is that guy. And Aiton, they need to fix that relationship. Utah Jazz, they are not built for success. They got to trade Donovan or Rudy.
It's got to be Rudy.
I don't know. It depends what you can get in return for Donovan.
But the problem is, I think that they see...
There's no good guards in this draft.
No.
You have to trade Rudy.
It would have to be Rudy.
Yeah, and just bigs. You're not getting a top 3 draft pick for Rudy either.
No, Orlando is not trading that first pick for Rudy Gobert.
Yeah, because Orlando now has... They pick up Chet, right?
Right.
They can now trade Mo Bamba because they won't need him as a center.
And that's one of the most disrespectful things, is the fact that Orlando cannot develop Mo Bamba.
Mo Bamba was... Bro, that man should be like a Miles Turner.
He should
That's what he should be.
In the running for Defensive Player of the Year every year, and then gets snubbed at the end every time. That's how I feel like Mo Bamba.
Bamba, please, man. Get better.
Yeah, just...
Please, Mo.
Find a team.
Mohammed, listen to me. Please get better. I can't wait for Markelle Fultz to come back. I know people been lacking on Markelle because of his shoulder, because he can't shoot. But look, before he tore his ACL, he was balling. Now, when he comes back from this ACL injury, I hope he balls again so he can show the world, hey, he's not... I hope he has the Wiggins recovery. I hope he does.
He already did that, though.
Markelle's good. No, he is. Markelle's literally in like year 4. He was drafted with Lonzo. He's not that old. He's probably like 23.
But we've already gone through an injury recovery with Markelle.
That was his shoulder. He just tore his ACL.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and he fixed his... He completely changed his shooting form when he did his shoulder, which I think was better.
Wow.
All right, so... Utah.
Gotta bounce one of them.
Go. Nobody cares about Utah. So okay, let's move back down the west.
Milwaukee. Well, let's just go the last couple. Milwaukee and who else got bounced?
The Nets.
They didn't just get bounced.
They got...
It was Milwaukee and some...
Oh, yeah. No, they were first round, but...
Who else was in the East? Milwaukee played Boston, and Miami played who?
Atlanta.
No.
Was that first round? That was first round.
Yeah, so who did Miami play second round?
Philly.
Oh, yeah.
That's why nobody cares.
So what does Philly and Milwaukee do now? Let's start with Philly.
Philly needs to get their head out of their asses and realize that James Harden should not be on that team next year. No matter what their GM says, and they want James Harden to be there, if you want Joel Embiid to stay, James Harden is not on that team next year.
What can you trade James Harden for? Does he have
A
1 year on
bag
his
of
deal?
chips.
Does he have, how many years on his deal does he have?
1 or 2. He's not a free agent.
I mean, Philly is set up for greatness, though, because Tyrese is a fucking hooper. Joel, snubbed, obviously.
Snubbed.
Which, I was looking on Twitter, right? All of you that are saying Joel should have been first team, that's not how first team and second team works. There's only one center that makes it. Jokic made MVP, so obviously he's going to be first team automatically. So Joel, he can't be a forward. So for all of you that said that, shut the hell up, damn it. Okay, that's it. Now,
you got that rant out of the way?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
They got to trade James, but what did they trade?
A bag of chips and a strip club membership.
You need more from James. You need a point guard. If you could get a really good point guard.
Tyrese can play the 1.
Tyrese is a 2 guard, though. You put Tyrese at the 2 with a good passing point.
Which
trade
should
for Tyrese.
be James Harden.
Trade for Tyrese Halliburton. You give me Reese, Maxey, Reese and Reese, and Joel at the center. That's a good line. Is Toby still there?
Yes.
He's like, I don't even know where he is.
Toby was the only thing that was a bright spot on that Philly team against Miami.
Yeah. So if they theoretically trade James Harden for Tyrese Halliburton, they have that lineup of Halliburton, Maxey, Matisse Thybulle, Tobias Harris, and Joel Embiid. All right, so we're back. We were on the topic with Matisse Thybulle. You're about to say something.
Matisse Thybulle, there are a lot of people that are very upset with his role on the team. Because in that Miami series, supposedly being one of the best defenders, up-and-coming defenders, that was non-existent. He let Jimmy Butler drop 40 pieces on his head top, shooting 22% from the three-point line.
Which is not good. Okay.
That's poo-poo.
But Jimmy's also that guy. When it comes to playoff time, Jimmy is one of those guys that just elevates his play to the next level. But you can't, when elite players are in that mode, you can't put a stop to them, but you can slow them down.
I don't think that anybody, until last night with the 13 piece, has been able to slow Jimmy Butler down since Udonis Haslem almost punched him in the face.
And I don't even know if that 13 piece was the Boston Celtics. That might have just been Jimmy in his own head.
I think he got it in his own head.
Yeah.
Because statistically, since that fight went down on the bench with Coach Spo and Jimmy Butler, they have had the best record in the NBA.
Indeed they have.
And it's kind of wild.
Philly, trade James Harden, please.
Please. Because Joel Embiid is looking on Twitter like he's about to be at Miami Heat.
Yep. And so let's move on to old
let's get
Milwaukee.
off of Philly because nobody cares.
Milwaukee. They run it back. You had no Chris Middleton the entire playoff run, and you made it that far to the conference final.
Not going to lie to you, I didn't watch any Milwaukee because watching Giannis's game, I love Giannis, but watching it, you're watching the same damn thing every night.
And it works.
It works, so I didn't know that Chris Middleton was not playing.
Chris Middleton, I don't think he played a single lick of basketball that playoff run. So
I don't think he did.
Run it back.
No.
That's all you can do.
Exactly.
Next we have Atlanta. Now this is a sticky one still.
Because they're trying to get rid of John Collins.
Who do you even trade John Collins for?
They want Zach LaVine.
Ooh,
but Zach LaVine's a free agent.
Look. I don't mind them wanting Zach LaVine. It's just a backcourt of Trae Young and Zach LaVine.
No defense.
Guarding nobody.
There's the backcourts. You could have Spencer Dinwiddie and Jalen Brunson without Luka, and they'll drop 60 combined on Zach LaVine and Trae Young.
Oh, absolutely. No doubt.
There's no defense there.
Man, yeah. You can't have Zach LaVine in that backcourt, too. Unless you get a really good wing defender.
Which is DeAndre Hunter.
Does he get enough minutes?
He's a starter.
He does? Oh, well, shit. Shout out DeAndre Hunter.
But the problem is that to clear up space for Zach LaVine's contract, John Collins has to go bye-bye.
And then who do you run at the 4? Because you got Clint Capella still.
And that man is...
You'll take it.
That man is... I swear, he has not been in the league as long as people think he has, but it seems like he's been in the league forever, and he's consistent every year.
Yeah. I mean, Clint Capella just does what he needs to do. He's James Harden. Like, when was Clint Capella drafted?
Nobody knows.
Let's find out.
Yeah.
We can actually look this up. You keep talking.
Because I just feel like Clint Capella has been in the league forever, but I know he hasn't.
He
It
gotta
just-
be around for a while.
Right.
Clint Capella.
When was he drafted?
He's 28.
So he hasn't been in the
He
league
was
that long.
drafted in 2014.
He's only been in the league for 8 years.
That's wild.
And I feel like he's been around forever.
He's from Switzerland.
Yeah. But the problem...
You knew that?
Yeah.
Yeah, nigga
I play
said
a
that
lot
so
of too.
fast. I didn't know that
I
shit.
play a lot of my NBA.
I do too, but Clint Capella is not a player. I'm looking at where he was. I never traded
You know,
for Clint Capella.
you know why I traded for Clint Capella?
Why?
Because until these last couple years, when Bam Adebayo took the spot as the easiest player to trade for, Clint was. And Clint goes out there and gets 15 rebounds a game, and you could run a small forward at power forward that can shoot and have Clint Capella, and you'll out rebound the other team.
Fair enough. Shout out
'Cause-
Clint.
2K Clint Capella,
Different guy.
different guy.
So ATL, you got to trade. You got to get some. I don't know what you need to get, but you got to do something.
If you sign Zach LaVine, you have to trade somebody to clear the books because Trae Young wants a supermax.
And he deserves.
He
a
deserves a
supermax. So,
supermax.
yeah. The last one I think we should talk about is Brooklyn. Which Brooklyn Twitter is in a confuddle, I tell you what.
It's not pretty to
I've been
read.
scrolling through Brooklyn's Twitter feed, and they are in a depressive state. They're not in a good way.
The fact that KD has not talked to the front office since they got swept is alarming.
They still remain the only team to get swept this playoff run.
Exactly, and they're the team that trade Ben Simmons.
He hasn't played yet. He could be really good for them.
The problem is that he had surgery and all. It just
Back surgeries are they're different too. Like
right.
your mobility is all in your spinal cord.
There may not be a recovery from Ben Simmons.
I don't know. I think we just have to wait and see next season. But shit, Kyrie, what do you do with Kyrie? Do you just you got to re-sign him and trade him?
That's the problem is that because nobody's going to pay him.
Yeah.
So you have to trade him. The problem...
They won't give him a long-term deal, though.
No. The problem is that you have Ben Simmons and Kyrie, and neither one of them want to be there to play basketball.
I think Ben Simmons probably wants to be in Brooklyn to play basketball. He's just been halted by injury.
But you never know until he had that back surgery. No one actually thought that he was hurt.
Yeah.
Because he's played Wolf for so long.
When it comes with back surgeries, it's just like he clearly had something wrong.
Right. And
so we can't give Brooklyn Ben Simmons a bad rap yet.
No, not yet. You can't give Ben 10 a bad rap yet.
Shit, man. Ben, we got to see you play, big dog.
Yeah.
You got to get out on that court.
I want to see it.
Kyrie, you got to sign him for 2 years and hopefully trade him. But what do you trade him for? Because KD may not come back if you trade him. Do you trade both Kyrie and KD?
What's wild to me is KD being somebody who is so unpredictable with his feelings that he is just okay with everything that Kyrie does.
I don't think he's just okay. It's what the fuck can he do?
Well, he's come out and said that he supports Kyrie and he has no problem with everything Kyrie does, and I have no idea how.
Wow.
Because man literally needed to get a shot, and that's a touchy subject. He just needed to get a shot to play basketball.
All he needed was an injection. Still didn't get it.
No, and he won't.
Fair enough.
He won't. Fair enough.
You do what you want. You do
I don't
what you
care
want.
what you want.
But
Yeah.
KD, man. What do you do? What do you do for your legacy if you're KD? Because his legacy is now he needed a 73-9 team to win.
Yeah.
He hasn't won without that team. He got swept by Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown.
Which that team's good.
That team is really good, but swept is crazy. Couldn't take one game.
And he had
home.
the worst shooting performance
He played
of
two
his
games at home.
But he also had the worst shooting performance of his entire career against Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. And Jason Tatum was guarding
Locked him up. Locked his stuff up. But KD, bro, you got to do something because your legacy looking suspect right now.
I'm going to tell you right now, KD, we love you. The problem is you don't love KD? Since when?
Nah, continue your sentence, bro. Don't worry about me. Don't worry about me.
The problem is that it's hard to watch you make the moves that you're making and just watch your legacy go down the drain.
Because all KD will now be obviously is going to be remembered as one of the greatest scorers to ever put a ball in a net.
Exactly.
But when you look at the resume, it's going to say he needed to join the Warriors. He couldn't do it alone.
Exactly.
He had Russell Westbrook.
The problem, one of the problems there is that the West, at the time that him and Westbrook were there, was so big three built that they didn't have that third guy because no matter what he says,
right before KD left OKC, it was not super team built. The Warriors had Steph and Clay with Dre. That's not a big three.
It was.
That's not a big
because
three.
That Dre was the one that was making threes and dropping 20 points.
That's a good built team, but Draymond and any other team is not a big three player.
You saying you're the first person that I've ever talked to
that's not a big three.
No, but you're the first person I've ever talked to that the Warriors before KD was not a super team.
That's not a super. They drafted all three of those players.
They were all. That's how I feel.
They're not a super team.
Okay, because you're the first person I've ever talked about doing that. Now.
That's just a good built team. They have a superstar in Steph Curry, and then the two pieces work so fucking well. Clay and Dre.
Exactly. And that's how I felt about it. But also the West at that time, you had the Warriors. Yep. Then you had that amazing Grizzlies team that I felt like was built exactly like the Utah Jazz are now.
That's literally just a bunch of role players that balled.
They were
not Powell. That was Mark Gasol, Mike Conley,
Tony Allen.
A lot of them just balled out. But that's not a big three either.
No, but
they're just a good team.
And then you had the Harden Rockets.
Not a big three either. It was Harden and
Clint Capella.
Exactly. Who was his point guard? Yeah, that was before Chris Paul. So who was even Harden's point guard?
Wasn't there?
It was just Harden.
Wasn't Isaiah?
It was probably Jeremy Lin.
Yeah, what?
It could have been anybody. It could have been Patrick Beverly at that time.
Exactly. It was Patrick Beverly. Yeah. But then that was before Pat Bev turned into Pat Bev.
Shout out Pat Bev.
Honestly. And then you got, the West was the best conference back then.
I agree, but I think that KD and Westbrook team could have stood with any one of those teams.
And they did. They did in the Western Conference Finals.
Until they blew a 3-1 lead against the War. Like, they were up 3-1, right? Mm-hmm. The same hate we give Donovan Mitchell in the bubble, we got to give KD for being up 3-1.
Exactly. You got to give it to Westbrook, too.
You lose 4 back-to-back games. But the thing about Westbrook is he's never been in that top 5 NBA players of all time conversation.
No, KD.
So that's why we don't like.
No, you can't give Westbrook any more hate than he already has been given this season.
Yeah, like Westbrook, he's one of the greatest point guards of all time, but he's never been compared to a GOAT. KD, he is named the best scorer of all time.
And I don't think that it'll ever change. I think Luka could get there.
Luka
could get there. Never mind. I'm gonna retract that statement because Luka could get there.
I don't know, but KD's just 7 foot that can shoot over everyone. And
KD is a 7-foot point guard.
How do you contest it?
And he can play defense.
It's nasty. Not anymore.
But he could.
He could. Okay, see? He was playing some D. Pause.
Warriors, he was playing some defense.
He had some D on OKC.
He had some D on OKC. Yes, he did. You are not wrong about that.
Damn it.
Yeah.
I don't know. KD sold. His legacy will always be tarnished because he couldn't do it without a super team.
Because the only way now, with the way the NBA is built, for him to win another championship is if he built another super team. Or joined another super team.
KD, go to Atlanta. Him, Trey, and Clint Capella can run some shit.
They could. And Zach LaVine.
They're not getting Zach LaVine and KD.
So it's a possibility.
I don't know if they have the money for.
Nobody has the money for that. Nobody has the money.
KD and Trey.
But KD's made enough money, and KD's shown that he's been showing with all the shit that Kyrie puts him through that KD could take a lower salary.
KD's in pain. Wherever KD is, you know what, KD? I'm sorry for everything I've just said. KD, you are in pain. You are hurting. Okay, you don't have a teammate. Your teammate's a bogus teammate. We are sorry.
It's kind of wild to me that the people hate KD so much still to this day that they were freaking out about the fact that he was in Greece watching basketball while LeBron was working out.
LeBron as soon as they just see LeBron at. Oh, I don't
at his, know. But
I just saw LeBron like somewhere random.
Right. Well, the reason that LeBron was already working out was because of the fact that they didn't make the playoffs.
Exactly. He never had. He won the same amount of games in the playoffs as KD, though. So that's the.
But KD still.
You see, hey, sometimes maybe shit. KD did play like 40 minutes a game, though. So.
KD was on the floor at all times. It's just.
It's pain. What do the Brooklyn Nets do? I don't know.
I get rid of Kyrie.
Ride with Ben Simmons. See what he can do.
Get a center.
Oh man, y'all just need some. Y'all tragic right now.
DeAndre Ayton.
Y'all just look tragic. I think is that all for NBA? We can move on.
Yeah, we can move on.
Move on to some NFL talk. I'm a Steelers fan.
I'm a Niners fan.
So automatically that makes him a bogus fan that should not be listened to in any shape, way, or form.
I feel the same way about you. So.
False. Okay, we have the greatest team this side of the Mississippi.
Yeah, and
I don't know what that means. Where's the Mississippi?
No, it would be that side of the Mississippi.
Yeah, I'm not on
and so we have the greatest team of this side of the Mississippi.
That's a false statement.
Is
Kansas City this side of the Mississippi? Where's Missouri? Is it left or right of Mississippi? Anyway, that's not the point, right? That's not the point. Steelers next year, we are looking set up for a good season, I feel like. We drafted a QB, which you hate on our boy from Pittsburgh.
I think he can be a good NFL player.
You're hating on our boy from Pittsburgh.
That boy that Ryan Tannehill does not want to mentor was a better fit.
Nah, I think the hometown hero is the player. I think he was the one to get. So I like that pickup.
You put a water bottle in that man's hands and it looks like it's a 40-ounce drink.
That's no problem.
This right here.
We like small-handed.
This water bottle right here.
We like small-handed QBs.
Is huge in his hand.
We like small-handed QBs. That's okay. That is perfectly fine by us. I tell you what.
All right.
But we'll take him.
How do you feel about your receiving core?
I like what we just got in that draft. We got some nasty receivers in that draft. I forgot names. It's been a while. I've just been watching NBA playoff basketball. Not really watching, just keeping up because fuck the conference finals. But yeah, we got some nice receivers in that. We got a QB. Defense is still as nasty as ever. I think we're set up for a good little season here. I don't know. We could top our division. All we have to do is be better than Baltimore.
Yeah.
No, it was the Bengals last season, obviously, but I keep feeling like the Bengals are trash, but they're not anymore. Like every time I think of the Cincinnati Bengals, I always think they're whack as hell, but they top the division.
But I don't think they make it. I don't think they make it back there.
I think they do. Joey Burr is that guy.
I don't think they do.
Joe Burr. He made it. Didn't he make it to the fucking Super Bowl?
Yeah, they played in it, but I don't think they make it back there. I don't think they make it back there.
I don't know, but we can come second in our division.
Have you seen the way that the AFC has been built this offseason? That AFC West, Joe Burrow is not.
I mean, he's the best in the division. The AFC North, Cincinnati's the best in the division. Obviously, us second, Baltimore third, and the Browns are the Browns. Will forever be the Browns are the fucking Browns, you bastards.
But Deshaun Watson could be.
I don't care about Deshaun. We are going to absolutely take a poop on him. We're going to open up our booty holes and take a poop on his
They also
chest.
have Amari Cooper and Nick Chubb.
Have you seen that, by the way?
What?
Have you seen the things going around on Twitter? In Dubai, they'll invite girls from different places to shit on their chests.
Oh, okay. I'm good. Thanks. Let's move back to the NFL.
Have you not seen that?
No, and I don't want to.
Can we put an image up?
No.
No?
No.
No, okay.
It's the first episode. Let's not.
We'll keep it pushing.
Fuck, man.
The
Dude,
AFC.
The AFC.
The AFC.
Thank you. Fuck, man. Why you do that?
Anyway, shout out the AFC. Who do we have in the AFC? We have Kansas City.
The Broncos.
Kansas City in the AFC? Am I bugging? I swear they're in the AFC. Broncos. I think the Broncos are. I don't think the Broncos will have a better record than the Steelers.
You think they're posing?
I think they'll be all right. I don't think they'll be that good,
So
though.
you got the AFC West, right? You got the Broncos, the Chargers, the Chiefs, and isn't the Raiders?
Yes, because the Raiders played the Chargers.
That
I think out of those, the Raiders may top it.
I think out of those,
Give me Derek Carr.
Raiders could have the worst record.
No, they're not having a worse record.
I think they have a worse record.
They're not having a worse record. Oh, the Chargers are good, though.
They had the same record as the
fourth
Chargers.
team? The Broncos, the Chargers, the Raiders, and who?
And the Chiefs.
They're in the West?
Yeah.
Ah, shit, man.
No, the Raiders are coming in last.
Yeah, they've been
in the
last.
AFC West. And I'm perfectly fine with that because I don't care that you guys are in Las Vegas.
Yeah,
that is the
moved
one
from
team.
Oakland. That's why I don't care. If it was an expansion team, I would have fucked with them.
So
But you're actually Oakland. You can
right.
Oakland rides with you, not us.
No, we don't, and we never will. And even when the Warriors were in Oakland, they were always San Francisco people.
Shout out the Warriors. I tell you what.
So
The AFC will be won by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Moving on into the NFC. The Packers
are in some trouble.
Looking dismal. What happened to Devontae this season?
He got traded to the Raiders.
And what happened to... Oh, that's their only really, really good player.
Aaron Rodgers took all their money.
What are their running backs looking like? Do they still have A.J. Dillon?
And Aaron Jones.
They
have a good running back, but they don't. The only receiver that they have is MVS and that kid Christian Watson that they drafted.
Packers are coming sixth in the NFC. It's nasty. Because the NFC just has good teams.
Right.
Good teams.
Because every year it looks like the Niners could either be the worst team in the NFL or make the NFC Championship.
You always start out as the worst team, but then you come back.
The last 7 games of the season, and then we go to the NFC Championship game. Sometimes the Super Bowl.
Sometimes maybe good, and then we lose. And then sometimes maybe bad, and we still lose.
We haven't won since the 90s.
It's all right.
But we've been to like 4
right.
Super Bowls since.
It's okay. It's okay. Don't cry. It's okay.
But let's talk about the fact that the Niners still haven't traded Jimmy G.
Who did they pick up at QB?
They have Trey Lance.
Is that it? They didn't pick up a QB?
No, because they money invested in Trey Lance, and George Kittle is very, very convinced on Trey.
So basically, all I'm hearing is you're gonna run a raw QB all season.
Yeah, and
that's not bad.
And we're gonna
get the kid some fucking snaps.
Well, this is what George Kittle says. Kittle says that if you give the kid enough reps this season, watch out.
Yeah, give the kid some reps, see what happens.
He says that he has seen Trey Lance do stuff that he has never seen a quarterback do, ever. And, George Kittle has been around the block.
Also, the Titans may have a really good team this season. I was just thinking about this since we're talking about young QBs, obviously.
They don't have A.J. Brown anymore.
Yeah,
Or
but
Julio.
they still have that big man that runs the ball,
They have that big man that runs the ball. And he's going
That's
to be
really
very good
good.
for my fantasy.
He threw a touchdown pass last season. I tell you what,
And then he
that's
got
a QB. Nah, Pen. We don't talk about that part.
Hey, Drew, they threw a touchdown pass in the playoffs the year before that, too.
Also,
and the year before that.
I should have won fantasy last season. We're not in the same fantasy league. This season, I'll make sure we are so I can beat your ass. But last season, I should have won. I got finessed in the final fucking playoff game, and I'm hot about it.
I got finessed in the championship game of mine, and ours too.
Yeah.
And I went out, and I was 6-0 to start the season, and Derrick Henry went down, and I lost to our friend and my cousin, who was 0-6 at the time, and I was 6-0, and I went on a 4-game losing streak after losing to somebody that has not.
I think I only lost 2 games all season and tied 1. Like, I was balling.
I lost 4, but I still made the championship, and I lost by 3 points because I started somebody, and the person that I didn't start to come off the bench had the extra 3 points that I would have won.
Yep.
Yep.
That'll do it to you. Well, stay tuned for fantasy.
Fantasy will be
we
lit.
may do some box breaks on this podcast. That'd be
Very
dope.
true, yes.
You open up some NBA cards.
NFL cards. NFL cards are different.
I'm not spending money on NFL cards. I'll be honest.
No,
with
just
you.
because of the fact that you could pull a lot of people that nobody cares about.
Yeah, that's the problem. Like, I know the NBA, NFL is like, once you get deep into that roster, I'm like, I'm pulling an O lineman I've never heard of.
Who's the 20th man on that team? Like,
I'm telling you. You asked me the Steelers O line, I can't tell you. I can't tell you, bud.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I can tell you the Niners, but that's because I watch a lot of football.
Yeah, I watch basketball, but
I watch a lot of basketball too. Basketball's always going to be my love, but
yeah. We'll do some box breaks on here.
We will have to.
We'll get some regular podcasts where we talk about our lives, maybe get some guests on. We have some friends that we could get on. We have third mics. So we'll see what happens.
So you want to close the podcast out with a late prediction on who wins the NBA and an early prediction on who wins the NFL?
Okay, so NBA title from Iain this season is Miami in 7.
My prediction for the NBA, not biased, even though it sounds like it, is Warriors in 7 against Boston.
Yeah, Miami in 7 against Warriors, obviously. I don't think Dallas is making it out.
No.
Fair enough. And NFL, I think Steelers make it to the 3rd round of the playoffs.
I think the Niners make the NFC Championship again.
Yep. I'm lying to myself. We get bounced in the 1st round. There's no point even lying.
I'm going to go bounce in the 2nd round for the Niners this year.
Who's winning the NFL championship?
The Super Bowl winner this year, I want to say Josh Allen and the Bills.
I'll take the Bills, too.
I'll take the Bills.
Yep.
We can mutually agree on the Bills.
Alrighty. Well, that is it for our first podcast. Hope y'all enjoyed it. We will fine-tune this, obviously, get the mics better and all that, get the camera set up better.
Yep.
But, hell yeah. Stay tuned. We will have this weekly. We'll post a date. I don't know what date we're going to do this weekly, but...
Obviously.
Yeah. That's it from us.
Yeah.
Have a good life, y'all.
Yes.
We'll be back.
We'll be back.